Now, a First Alert Weather Breakdown. First Alert Weather Day Special Edition with meteorologist CJ Cartledge.
Good morning, everyone. My apologies for the intro. Today is not a KSLA First Alert Weather Day, but we are going to be seeing mostly sunny conditions out there across the ArkLaTex. Once again, I'm meteorologist CJ Cartledge here on the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown for today. Hope you guys have a great start to your Wednesday. Happy Hump Day, everyone. We have reached the middle of the week, and we have pretty almost smooth sailing conditions as we move through the rest of it here, as temperatures will be rising into the mid, in some areas even the upper 90s out there across the region. So maybe not so smooth for some of you, but smooth in terms of not anything major on the way in terms of storms here. We have the potential to see some severe storms through the overnight hours on tonight into tomorrow. But some of the models have been picking up on some of these storms that the National Weather Service has been warning for. There is a slight risk of severe weather in some portions and a marginal risk in others, which I will talk about more here on the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown. But more topics that we will also be talking about today. The mostly sunny forecast that we can expect through the rest of the work week into our weekend, and we're going to go into a little bit of some national weather headlines. We're going to look at some pictures and maybe some videos of some severe weather that's been happening just outside of the area that we could see, that have the potential to see through the overnight hours for tonight here. So we're going to be diving into that. Coming up after the break here, we're also going to be talking about now Hurricane Eric spinning off in the Eastern Pacific as of right now here. So that's what's going on through the podcast for today. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Now we're going to start off with a live look outside through our KSLA camera. This is overlooking downtown Shreveport and the Red River as of right now here. And we are looking at pleasant but humid feeling conditions out there across the ArkLaTex, as you can see right now across the region. And we could see these conditions last through most of the daytime hours, not so much into the evening, though, here. We're going to give another live look here at our Mattress Plus KSLA tower camera here, switching gears a little bit. As you can see, we're looking at partly cloudy skies out there right now, and pretty much no winds. As you can see, the trees are not moving by much, if you can see there. We're just dealing with calm conditions as of right now, but it is still going to be pretty humid as we move through the daytime hours for today. As you can see with the First Alert Doppler radar, we are seeing a couple of showers up there to the northern portions of the region. Those areas could see some more storms as we move towards the noon hour, but not so much heading towards the afternoon as compared to what the models are talking about as of right now. Let me move this out of my face real fast. There we go. Okay, so continuing on, we are seeing mostly dry conditions down to the southern half of the region down here south of I-20, but still an isolated shower or two cannot be ruled out, as you may have seen over in southern eastern Texas in Nacogdoches County, and even maybe even in Panola County there near Carthage. But moving on to temperatures as of right now, we are seeing temperatures mostly in the 80s right now already. 75 for areas up to the north of the I-30 corridor there near Idabel and DeQueen. 86 for Texarkana. 84 near Minden. 87 already near Bienville. And 85 for Longview and Mansfield over in East Texas, as well as near that Louisiana-Texas line there. But let's take a look at these feels-like temperatures across the ArkLaTex. We're already feeling like 104. If I'm not mistaken, Bienville's temperature as of right now is 87, as I just read, and there feels like temperature, it feels like 104 degrees out there. So they're naturally more on the warmer side as compared to everywhere else around the ArkLaTex, mainly because of some certain factors here. But even with the past couple of summers that we've moved through the ArkLaTex, Bienville seems to have their radar site next to a heater or something, just to say that as a joke. But they're naturally a little bit warmer as compared to everywhere else. Their readings are a little bit higher compared to everywhere else. 95 for Shreveport, 90 for Minden, 95 also for Mansfield, and it feels very close to their actual temperatures for areas like Idabel and DeQueen, mainly because it rained there just a couple of hours ago. Now moving on to the forecast for the rest of the daytime hours, we could see Mostly dry conditions across at least Shreveport and Bossier and most of the ArkLaTex as well. Most of these showers that are out and about as of right now may dissipate and leave us dry and warm through the rest of the daytime hours today. But we also could see more storms as we move towards the late evening hours and into the early morning on our Thursday. And I will talk about that more in just a second. Temperatures may rise into the low to mid 90s. Some of us even the upper 90s out there across the ArkLaTex heading towards the evening. We may still remain in the 80s across the region here. Here's our highs for today across the area. And as you can see, 94 for Shreveport and areas like Natchitoches and Winfield looks to be at around 90 to 91 degrees. I'm going to move myself off the screen so you guys can see that. 93 for Texarkana, 88 for Idabel and DeQueen, 90s for Mount Pleasant, Longview, and Nacogdoches. And you may not see many upper 90s out there, but it is definitely going to be possible, especially if some areas don't receive rain, which will most likely be the midsections of the ArkLaTex around I-20, which is why they're a little bit warmer as compared to everywhere else around the ArkLaTex region. And in terms of feels like temperatures, well, we're going to be welcoming in those triple digits once again here in terms of feels like temperatures, guys, just to warn you all. It's not actual temperatures. These are apparent, or not apparent, but these are feels like temperatures. Which means with the humidity factored in, this is what the temperatures will feel like outside as compared to where the temperatures will be. Feels like 99 feels like high for Mansfield and Hemphill. Feels like high of 100 near Center, Nacogdoches, and Natchitoches. 102 potentially near Texarkana and Shreveport. As you saw before, Bienville is already over all of these highs for today. They could get a little bit warmer as we move through the afternoon. This is only the morning hours right now. Feels like temperatures for the next couple of days afterwards, heading into the weekend and into next week, we could possibly still see 100-degree feels like temperatures through the rest of the work week and into the weekend, or at least through the next 5 days ahead here. So make sure to get ready for that heat and humidity that seems to be relentless here in the ArkLaTex, and it's going to be relentless as we move through the rest of the month of June. Actually, we're already in June 18th, and they're expecting the next 8 to 14 days to remain hot and humid around the ArkLaTex and around most of the country as well. Here's a look at future track. We can expect these isolated rain showers. It's not picking up much on the rain showers that are out and about as of right now. And taking a look at another model that we use here, it's picking up on the showers a little bit better. So we're going to look at this one here to see what we can expect. As you can see, we could see more isolated showers and storms move across the I-30 corridor before it dissipates by the afternoon. But some of the southern portions of the region may see a shower or two. It doesn't look to be so likely for areas around I-20, though, to receive isolated rain showers. But it looks to be more likely for the northern and the southern portions of the ArkLaTex here, which is why we use different models. They don't do so well. It's pretty hard to pinpoint where these showers may end up as well. So take that into account. Moving into early morning on Thursday, we could see more storms, and there's actually a slight risk of severe weather for the northern half of the region, marginal for areas around I-20 and just a little bit southward here. I'll give you another look at the other model that we use here, just to give you guys some point of view on what we're looking at. As you can see, with Thursday afternoon, we could see a couple of isolated showers here across the ArkLaTex, but heading towards the evening, everything looks to be dying down and becoming quiet once again. Here's another look at future track, the one I showed before. It shows very similar conditions to what we believe here at KSLA will happen. Not too much really to go on, maybe an isolated shower or two to the southern half of the ArkLaTex. But as we move through the overnight hours, we could see some storms enter into the ArkLaTex region, which doesn't show it on this model either. But the National Weather Service has highlighted some portions around the region to have the potential to see some storms across the area. So we have to take that into account. And for those, for the Thursday afternoon into the evening, we could see more isolated showers and storms. Heading into Friday, this one goes a little bit farther out. We'll still receive southerly flow and remain mostly dry through the day before those afternoon rain chances look to return back into the ArkLaTex heading into the afternoon hours here. This is the severe risk that we have for tonight. This is mainly for tonight, not for today, but for tonight. Spilling over into some parts of the early morning hours of our Thursday. There's a slight risk of severe weather for the areas around I-30 and northward, and areas around I-20 will see a marginal risk of severe weather. So, National Weather Service may be seeing something on their different models that they look at as compared to what we're looking at. So we'll have to take this into account here as the severe storms that ran past the areas off to the north and west of us saw some severe storms. Those same storms may run into our area, the northern portion of the area at least, and bring the chance for severe weather as well. And in terms of what exactly we can expect in terms of the severe risk, tornadoes look to be at a low chance. Large hail looks to be at a low chance, but elevated chance for strong winds. I know strong winds were a definite concern for those in Kansas and Arkansas just last night, and those areas that were affected by the severe storms up there to the north outside of our area, outside of the ArkLaTex region. Flash flooding is also a concern as heavy rainfall may be a pretty likely possibility here associated with these storms here. As moving into the weekend, rain chances look to plummet almost pretty much to 0%. As you can see, mostly sunny conditions for our Saturday and Sunday, where highs may reach the upper 90s, maybe even some may hit the triple digits out there. We could see some heat advisories as well. It's definitely a possibility that we could see our first heat advisory of the year. And yeah, that's definitely a possibility as we head into the weekend. So hot and humid conditions are expected, but at least no storms are on the forecast here on the radar as we move into the weekend. So that is definitely a good sign. Heading into our next 8 to 14 days, temperatures will definitely or are likely to trend above the average for this time of year, at least for most of the ArkLaTex. A little bit less likely for the northern portions of the region, as you can see by that divide in color. Lighter colors up to the areas around north of I-30 and southwestern Arkansas and McCurtain County, but south of I-30 are expected to be a little bit more possible to see above average temperatures for this time of year here in the ArkLaTex. Now let's move on to the 7-day forecast, where we can expect the slight rain chances to remain through the rest of the work week, mainly because of afternoon showers and storms that may pop up due to the high heat and humidity. But we're expecting that high heat and humidity to remain here in the ArkLaTex through the rest of the forecast period. The high pressure center may just be right over the ArkLaTex as we move through the weekend, which is why we won't see rain chances rise, not even slightly here. But as we move into our next work week, we could see the high pressure move off to the east and bring more chances for afternoon showers and storms. But temperatures will still rise into those mid or low to mid 90s, some of us even the upper 90s heading into next week as well. Now, coming up after the break, we're going to go into some national headlines. There's been some severe weather going on just outside of the region. In Kansas, we're going to look at some pictures and videos of some storm damage and the pictures of the clouds and things of that nature, like the outflow boundaries that you guys love to see and love to post about on social media, or that you may see about on social media here. We're also going to be talking about the newly formed hurricane out there in the eastern Pacific and the quiet conditions still remaining here in the Atlantic as of right now, presenting us with a slow start to the hurricane season. So make sure to stay tuned for that. I'll be back right after this quick break. Good morning, and everyone, and welcome back. Coming up right now, actually, we're going to be talking about the national headlines, something that's going on around the nation in the tropics as well as here in the country on land. Last night, and the past couple of nights, we've been seeing some severe weather roll through the northern or upper Midwest here and into portions of the lower or the Midwest, pretty much the Midwestern states. Last night, we actually saw storms roll through Oklahoma and through Kansas, presenting with some pretty extensive damage from the damaging wind threat associated with these storms here. And I believe it presented with a couple of tornado warnings as well, just outside of the area. So we're going to be looking at some pictures courtesy of our Gray sister station, KWCH in Wichita, Kansas. So let's take a quick look at some pictures here. As you can see, this is pretty much an outflow boundary. This is a pretty cool picture here sent into KWCH around 11 hours ago from when the storms were actually moving through. This was most likely taken in the afternoon. This is most likely an outflow boundary that was moving through those areas up there in Kansas. But this is east of Arkansas City. Second picture is a bridge covered. That's hail sizes. This is around a quarter inch hail. What's around 1 inch in diameter here. Another picture of the raining conditions out there. There's another video of an outflow boundary out there. This is pretty interesting. That's really cool. Yeah, that is really cool. That's a really long outflow boundary, and that's most likely from when the outflow boundaries usually go out ahead of the storm and push out the rain-cooled air. That takes pretty much the fuel ahead of the storm away from the storm. So when it runs through it, the storm loses intensity and it will slowly dissipate here. And there's another video of an outflow boundary out there during the evening hours of when the storm was rolling through around 12 hours ago. This is from Mulvane, Kansas. This is pictures of baseball-sized hail falling from the sky here around 12 hours ago. There's possibly more pictures of that there, as you can see here. So there was definitely some very intense storms rolling through. This is from Wichita, Kansas, of a tree falling on a car. This is more damage of trees falling down, mainly because of the damaging winds and large hail, as you can see here. It's almost the size of his palm. There's more pictures of rain damage and lightning, as you can see there. Oh, that's a really interesting picture there. Those are really dark skies and sort of a green color there. There's more pictures of hail. And there's more pictures of hail right there. As you can see some, I believe that's around a $50 size. But that's pretty interesting. Oh my gosh, that's really big. That's softball size hail. He couldn't even hold it in the person's hand. He had to use two hands. But yeah, those are pretty much the storms or the effects of when the storms rolling through the ArkLaTex, not the ArkLaTex, but areas just outside of the ArkLaTex here. And as you can see by the title, it was storms packing hurricane force winds moved into south central Kansas in the early morning hours, leaving behind widespread damage. So this wasn't this past night, but this was the night previous or the night before. Also, I did want to go into more national headlines, and we now have a new hurricane spinning off in the Eastern Pacific. This is their fifth named storm, as mentioned yesterday. I believe on yesterday's show, I mentioned it. Hurricane Eric, and it reached hurricane strength, I believe, earlier this morning or just last night. And it is still intensifying as it rolls through areas in the Eastern Pacific there, right off the coastlines of Mexico. It's actually expected to make landfall into Mexico within the next couple of days or so. And it's expected to rapidly intensify, as you can see, possibly reaching up to Category 3 strength by the time we hit Thursday morning at 7 a.m., reaching wind speeds around 115 miles per hour, sustained winds. So that at the center, that means... Sustained winds means that at the center, the highest wind speed that would be recorded is around 115 miles per hour. Everything on the outside, on the outskirts of the storm, is a little bit lower than 115 miles per hour. So that's just something to take with you guys in terms of knowledge. But it may rapidly intensify throughout today and throughout the night tonight. So and is looking to make landfall by Thursday afternoon or Thursday evening here with, I believe that's 50, I think that says 50 miles per hour sustained winds or 90 mile per hour sustained winds. Either way, it's supposed to make landfall as potentially a major hurricane out there in the Pacific. So prayers up to those along the southwestern coast, I believe this is, of Mexico. If you have any family in those areas, make sure to reach out to them and tell them to evacuate, especially if you're along the coast, and move farther inland. But here in the Atlantic, as you can see, there's nothing at all going on across the entire Atlantic here. And that could be mainly due to multiple factors, which I also talked about on yesterday's show, which was the Saharan dust coming off of the coastlines of Africa. Saharan dust has been pretty much moved on a belt all the way through the southern Atlantic Oceans, through this path, and through the Caribbean islands, and all the way into the southern states within the United States here. There's also factors due to stronger wind shear, which is the stronger change of wind direction with height. That also inhibits tropical development. And there's also the sea surface temperatures, which are a little bit cooler as compared to last year's storms. As of this time last year, I think Beryl, or Tropical Storm Beryl, or Hurricane Beryl, as it was also named, was rolling through the Atlantic as of right now, mainly because of those higher or suitable conditions for hurricane development here. So as this graphic that you may have seen multiple times on air, it has not been changed since June 1st. So it's no development here in the next 7 days in the Atlantic, at least. There's multiple areas of development, or at least multiple storms that have already developed out there in the Eastern Pacific. But here in the Atlantic, still pretty quiet, a little bit too quiet for our liking. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on here in the ArkLaTex and around the country as of right now. Everywhere else is, our areas up to the northeast, I believe, are a little bit quiet and still dealing with heat and humidity right now as well. So yeah, that pretty much wraps today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any topics that you want us to discuss here on the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown, make sure to send us an email at weatherBreakdown@ksla.com, or message us on Facebook at KSLA First Alert Weather Team. Make sure to continue to join us at weekdays at 10:30 a.m. We'll have more talking about another topic here with meteorologist Evan Thomason coming back on the podcast tomorrow. So make sure to stay tuned for that, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, and have a great rest of your week. I will not be on the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown, I believe, until next Wednesday. So a week from today, I'll be back on, but tomorrow you have meteorologist Evan Thomason back on the podcast once again. So once again, have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you guys on the next podcast.